asked you a question, why do you smoke? You didn't really have much of an answer. Why do y'all smoke? You seen all your folks do it, so you got set up with a bad example, right? What about you? Exodus 23 and 2. So bored, nothing to do. How long you been smoking? 10th grade. 10th grade. So that represents, you know what that represents? That represents not being watched over as a child. Did you have your father in your house? No, you didn't have your father. Did you have your father in your house? See, this is what happens. When we don't have our fathers in our house, guess who becomes the examples of who to be? Everybody else on the street smoking weed. That's right. And then you pick it up, and then you pick it up, and then guess what? If I have a child, he's your nephew, he gonna pick it up. That's right. Read that.
It's the book of Exodus, chapter 23 and verse 2.
This is what we do wrong every time. Every generation we mess this up. Read.
Thou shalt not follow a multitude to do evil.
What do we should not do?
Follow the multitude to do evil.
The multitude is evil. So they're going to do evil things. But guess what? If you had your father in your house being a good example of a man who shows up, teaches you, educates you, works hard, and builds you up and teaches you as a child, then guess what? You're going to have a whole nother path and a whole nother trajectory in your life. Give me that 1 Peter 5. Do not follow a multitude to do evil. You followed a bad example. Now what you got? A multitude of righteousness. You got a multitude of righteous examples that you can follow now, teaching you. Because a few years ago, I didn't know nothing. But now I'm over here teaching. So that's a transformation that you're seeing right before your face. Read that.
It's the book of 1 Peter, chapter 5 and verse 8.
I'm going to show you why y'all smoke. Read.
Be sober, be vigilant.
God said be sober and be vigilant. That's a commandment to the Israelite princes. That's a commandment. We have to follow it. That means you can't get drunk. You can drink alcohol in moderation like Christ did, but you cannot get drunk. Here's why. Read.
Because you
cannot smoke weed. You cannot get high. You cannot pop pills. You cannot do anything that takes you out of your natural mind. Why? Read.
Because your adversary, the devil.
Because your adversary. What is an adversary? You know, you heard Pac say it, my adversaries.
Like a minion or something?
An enemy. Your adversary, the devil, is your enemy. If you have an enemy, what does that mean? That means you're at war. Y'all are at war. There's a spiritual battle going on. And y'all think that y'all not at war, thinking that y'all could just rest easy because ain't nobody coming at you with a tomahawk. Because ain't nobody shooting no gun at you right now. You're at war. And how does Satan attack you? Read.
As a roaring lion walketh about, seeking whom he may devour.
When you think about a roaring lion, who does the roaring lion attack? Does he attack the one that's a part of the herd, that's in the midst of the herd, or does he attack the one that's straying off alone? The stragglers. What makes you a straggler? You outside of your natural mind. You high. You over here smoking weed. You drunk. That makes you the one to attack. That means that you're the one who don't have your defenses up. That means that you're the one who don't have no understanding of what you in. God made you a king. God made you a king to be righteous and show that righteous example to the people. But guess what? Satan says, oh hell no. I done worked hard to make these niggas look like this. I done worked hard to make Oakland look like this. I done worked hard to keep the Israelites from knowing who they are. I done worked hard for that. You're not going to take that from me. And these kings that you set up, what's your name, King? Keon. Keon, what's your name? What? Keon and Juan, they not finna stop what I'm doing. So guess what? I'm going to push weed in their community. Keon. So Satan says, in order to stop you, I'm going to push weed in your community from when you're a little kid before you can even understand what you're really getting into. That's what Satan said he's going to do to you. And he's doing it. I'm going to push weed. I'm going to push alcohol. I'm going to push hoes. I'm going to push pills. I'm going to push violence. I'm going to put some negative imagery to them in the films. I'm going to push school to prison pipelines on you. Why is it that you smoke weed but you know it's illegal and you can get pulled over for it and put in prison? Because it's a plan. Read that. Keep reading.
Whom resisteth steadfast.
Read it again.
Be sober.
So you got to be sober because you're at war. Satan has been, every time you get the urge to smoke weed, that's attacked by Satan. Because all it's going to do is keep you from picking up your sword. All it's going to do is keep you from picking up your sword and fight. Hey, Juan. Hey, Juan. Hey, Juan. All it's going to do every time you get that urge to smoke weed, all Satan is doing is saying, I got to sedate him or put him under so that he don't pick up his sword and resurrect his people. So that he don't pick up his sword and fight against me. You understand? It's a problem that we got to deal with as men. You understand? So understand this. Stop smoking the weed. What is something that we must do in order to be able to bring our people back together? Give me that in Zephaniah 2:1. In fact, I got another question for you. I got a better question. Where you know that the prophecy says that World War III is going to be the end of this thing, right? Right. So where do you stand on the other? What side of that prophecy do you stand on? Are you going to stand on the righteous side and be saved, or are you going to burn in hell with everybody else with that nuclear fire? Come, I can't hear you. You're going to stand on the righteous side. Give me that in Zechariah 13:8. You said you're going to stand on the righteous side. What is the righteous side? I'm going to show you what the wrong side is, and I'm going to show you what the right side is, and you're going to have to make a choice, bro. Read that.
It's the book of Zechariah, chapter 13 and verse 8.
This is what's going to happen.
And it shall come to pass.
This is a prophecy. It shall come to pass. It ain't happened yet. Read.
That in all the land, saith the Lord.
All the land, saith God. He putting his name on it. Read.
2 parts therein shall be cut off and die.
2 parts. What does that mean? 2/3. So that means 2 out of 3 are going to die. 2 out of the 3 people that you know is going to die. That's how crazy it's going to be. So you can have your 2 best friends on your side. You can be the only one that makes it. That's crazy. 2/3, read.
But the 3rd shall be left therein.
But the 1/3 so 1 out of 3 is going to be left therein to get the kingdom. Read.
And I will bring the 3rd part through the fire.
And he's going to bring you through that hellfire, not to be harmed, while everybody else is sitting there burning. Read.
And will refine them as silver is refined.
How is he going to refine you? Like gold is refined by his laws, statutes, and commandments. That's how you're going to be refined. You understand? So now we have to understand what refines us. What converts us and changes us. Give me that Psalms 19:7. So this is what converts us and changes us into that fine gold. And you got to start today. I'm sorry, you got homework, bro. You got to start today. You got weed on you? Good. Don't buy no more. Don't buy no more. Read.
It's the book of Psalms, chapter 19 and verse 7.
The
law of the Lord is perfect.
The law of the Lord is perfect. It makes us perfect. How?
Converting the soul.
Converting the soul, meaning refining the soul, like gold is refined. So now we got to get you the law. So when it comes, you got a girlfriend, what you got? You dealing with a woman right now? Okay. So how long you been dealing with her? Give me that Hebrews. Huh? You've been dealing with her 10 years. Give me that in Exodus. Exodus 22. So you've been dealing with her for 10 years, or y'all married? Why not? You done took 10 years of the sister's life. She must be doing something right to keep you there for 10 years, right? So what are you supposed to do? In God's eyes, as a prince of God. You're supposed to marry her. Now, is she worth marrying? Okay. Read that. This is what God says.
It's the book of Exodus, chapter 2.
This is a law that's going to convert you and refine you into that gold. Read.
It's the book of Exodus, chapter 22 and verse 16.
And
if a man entice a maid.
So you hollered at her. You are the man who enticed or seduced that woman. Whatever you said, it worked 10 years ago. Read.
That is not betrothed.
So if you entice a woman who is not betrothed or given over to another man, she's not engaged to marry another man, read.
And lie with her.
And what?
And lie with her.
What that mean? Have sex. You have sex with her. What shall you do after you have sex with her? Well, actually, you're supposed to do it before. But this is the law in case you actually have done it already. Read.
He shall surely endow her to be his wife.
No, he shall, it may be if he want to, if you get around to it.
He shall surely endow her to be his wife.
What does it mean that when God says, you shall surely do this thing? You got to marry that woman. You got to make an honest woman out of her. You got kids? You got kids with her. How many kids you got? You got 3 kids. So what kind, are you setting the right example? Because you said you've been smoking weed since you was a kid because you got an example set for you from the other niggas, right? So are you setting the example, the proper example, for the children that you got now by not marrying their mama? Nah. How do you feel about marrying her? It don't cost no money to go to the courthouse. It don't. Hey, and guess what? Even better, rings are an Egyptian custom. We the Israelites.
That's
We
right.
ain't even got to get no ring.
That's right.
You understand? In fact, don't get no ring. You understand? I mean, if you get it, go ahead and get it. So you got to understand that you got to marry that sister and make an honest woman out of her, because guess what? Your household is unclean right now. Now you ain't got to get that. Give me that second Ezra 14, 13. So understand, bro, your house ain't in order. And guess what? God says everything that you do must be in order, in his order. So is God with you right now? Not really. Not really. But guess what? He's sending you here so that he desires to get with you.
That's
So
right.
guess what? You got to do this. Read that.
Right. It's the book of 2nd Ezra, chapter 14 and verse 13.
Uh-huh.
Now therefore, set thine house in order.
You got to set your house in order first. Read. How do you set your house in order? What's the first step you got to do? You got to get married to your wife. You got to get married to that woman and show these kids an example of how a Israelite household is supposed to be ran. Read.
And reprove thy people.
Then after you get your house in order, then you can come reprove or correct your people. That's what you got to do. Then you can come out here and teach the people. Read.
Comfort such of them as be in trouble.
Then you can bring comfort to them and let them know that, guess what? You're not a nigga. You're not a spick. You are one of God's chosen people. You are an Israelite. You're a Jew. And guess what? You're a king, and your destiny is to rule.
What is a nation? Nation is family. Nation is community. Nation is men leading by example. Nation is women's support. Nation is children with role models. Nation is unity. Nation is you. It's nation time.
And finally, my brethren, be strong.